lack of investigative journalism has led us to where we currently are. The story of Yakhe Kwinana has been published by different news media houses in South Africa. Take a listen to what they had to say and what the true version of the story actually is.
SAA technical chairperson Yakhe Kwinana has returned to the spotlight after being arrested last week on extortion-related charges. Kwinana will appear before the East London Magistrates Court on Monday for the extortion.
Let me break the story down for someone who's not been following. Umamu Yakhe Kwinana needs no introduction. She's got a land, unomhlaba, ifama yakhe eseMonti, apho abantu bafike bandlova khona, right? Now, those people were refusing or are refusing for years and years and years. Ude anegotiate nabo abacenge. Athi hayi ke okubana kanibhatale ke noba yirent kuba kaloku umasipala uyanditshaja for abantu abahlala emhlabeni wakhe engenguyanga engengobantu akabazi nobazi bafike bokha block of flats bokha amatyotyombhe bokha imention abanye emhlabeni wakhe. Into enzekayo ke inyani ithi there is a syndicate, kukho nootsotsi bemigulukudu that have been selling. Nam ndandiwuthengiselwe lo mhlaba eMonti back in the day. Ndandiwuthengiselwa umhlaba phayana ngo-40,000 abanye i-100,000, sometimes omnye athi i-15,000 kholesisa ungajambisa 15,000. There's been that syndicate ethengisa imihlaba phayana, and it is alleged that millions have been made ngokuthengiswa kwala mhlaba, allegedly, by aba bantu bangaziwayo bangakhonjwayo ngoku. Kutheni abantu bangakhonjwa ababebethengisela aba bantu imihlaba? Bathe ke xa bebathengisela bathi hayi ningabi naxhala, lo mhlaba lona sisebenza nomasipala, amagqwetha wethu ayayilungisa le nto, izawuba ngumhlaba wenu lo, uzawuba umhlaba wabantu, abe ingumhlaba kamama Kwinana. So when umama Kwinana negotiated with the people wathi khaniphumeni emhlabeni wam, abavuma, wathi at least ke bhatalani irent ebacenga kuba kaloku akazukwazi ugxotha abantu bene-families uyanda silaa nto yobuntu. Now xa isiza kubo every time bamleqa ngebheki, bamleqa ngehlakulo, bamleqa ngehamile emhlabeni wakhe bathi makaphume aphele ngoku, uyayiva ne? That's why she resorted to getting this security company e-owner ngulo tata weteksi kuthiwa nguGaps. Now tell me, idibana phi umama Kwinana ne-taxi violence, ne-extortion, and all those things? This is a mess. This is a mess. And the mess iqalwe ngu-Daily Dispatch. I think the point of umntu oqala funeka aphendulile is that reporter yase-Daily Dispatch that has published, and the editor for that matter, that has published a story that has one side. That's number one. Number two, amapolisa lana ude ibe it's special into la NIU, National Intervention something, that came all the way to Midrand. Mama Kwinana bese Blue Vale ezishopishela like she does every day Blue Hills, nje ezithengela inantsika beshoda ngemengo, ebezishopishela nje ngamapolisa, bezehlikele emotweni yakhe bese i-DC yakhe i-class eyoshopisha eBlue Hills pha kwaPick n Pay. Aba bantu bayambamba. Imagine.
To view the land. And when we went to view the land, those people came out, someone blew a whistle, and they came out and we were surrounded by a mob who were chasing us out. And Mrs. Kwinana indicated to us that this is the situation that she is faced with every time she comes to her farm or to her land. These people are threatening her, they are chasing her out, chasing her with pangas and guns and everything else. Hence, she decided to hire a private security.
Now, Xoli, we also have been informed by Gabs Mjala that Ms. Kwinana actually does have does have eviction notices. She went through the proper channels in order to evict the people that are on her land. Now, this is before the option of them paying rent and
ubanjelwa ntoni kuthiwa ugrogrisa abantu ezihlelele apha kwakhe eBlueville. Kuthiwa ugrogrisa abantu ngapha e-Eastern Cape, abantu ababe umhlaba wakhe bazokhela amatyotyombe. Now abafuni kwa ubhatala irent ke enze bakhavarishe ii-rates abhatala umasipala. Now by employing that security company engu-Gaps, right? Kuthiwa uya-intimidator and it's extortion because abantu yabazi abafuna ubhatala ngoku irent but ayisuka ngapha eRhawutini mos lo mntu esawuthini, and xa esiya phaa bayibona ngumama ozilungeleyo bayamgrogrisa. Now the masterpiece is that amapolisa ambamba njani ene-court order ezingaka ezisusa abantu emhlabeni wakhe. What is going on? Who is being protected? Who are these politicians? Let's not run away from the real question. Who are these politicians that have been eating from the proceeds of that land? Yala mama. When we are suing, when Mama Kwinana, Amandla Yakhe Amandla, when she is suing the state, we must establish, we need to get to the bottom of who has been eating there. It's going to get to that level. The wrongful arrest, all those things. Imagine ixhekwazana labantu asuswe ngapha eRandburg, bebanjwe eMidrand, right? Wayovela ecourt yaseRandburg, asuswe eRandburg asiwe Eastern Cape ngevantyi. Sentsho wenze ntoni mama wabantu?
To believing that they owned the land.
Let me quickly credit the team of Eldrin. They're the only ones who got the correct version of this particular story.
Pakema is on that story for us this morning. Sipa, very good morning to you. And you managed to speak to some of the alleged victims and also the security officers that were helping her execute what she was terming at the time rent that was due to her. Tell us more about that story and the charges that she faces this morning.
Well, Aldrin, from what we have gathered and also what we've been told by the occupants, the land occupants, as well as the security company, the private security company owner, Gebs Mchala, who was contracted by Ms. Kwinana about 7 months ago. Now, Gebs Mchala is a known taxi boss in these parts of the Eastern Cape, but he also owns a private security company. And he says that 7 months ago, he was approached by Ms. Kwinana, who said that she was having issues regarding illegal occupants on her land. Now, from what we have gathered and what we have been told by the occupants, the first part would be when they arrived in 2018 in that particular spot that they refer to as Portion 11, is that they were under the impression that the people who were selling the plots and those that had created a committee that were giving off the plots of land to various people. They were told by this committee that that land was going to belong to the people as there were processes being done with lawyers. Now, the occupant tells us that they kept being told to contribute money for the lawyers, contribute money to create the road structures that are there. Now, from what we've also been informed by the occupants as well as Gebs Mchala is that Ms. Kwinana had gone through the processes of trying to evict the occupants from the land that she says is hers. But unfortunately, the number of times that she's been there, she was turned away by the community, and that's multiple times. And then she came back with the private security services who would then assist her in handing out these court orders as well as eviction notices. But what we've been told by Gebs Mchala is that the people then approached Ms. Kwinana to say that can we rather rent instead of vacating the land, pay rent to you? That was the agreement, that they would be paying 2.5 per month as part of a contribution, as the electricity that they're using is said to be under Ms. Kwinana's name at Eskom.
Sentsho wenze intoni umama wabantu?
Just damage to property, theft, and pointing of a firearm. If you can just dwell on those, and how do you feel about coming here to support here?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Nomadis Maodi. I'm one of the residents in Portion 11 of Cofridge, which is legally owned by Mrs. Yakhe Kwinana. On this matter, there are court orders. It's a court order of 2020. In fact, it's an eviction order. Because after several occasions of Mrs. Kwinana trying to speak to us, she went to court. And the court has decided in her favor. So she has an eviction order against us. And one of the clauses there in the eviction order talks to demolish, that she must demolish. And we must not erect, build, and do whatever. But even after that court order, some people, they build structures like formal structures within the farm. Mrs. Kwinana has been so fair to us. She extended a messy hand and she said, let's come and talk.
Umphathi wenkampani yabucala yezokhuselo uGabs Mchala ngomso ekhatshwa ngabantu, onoteksi, osomashishini kunye nabantu ngokubanzi bazabe ngomso bematsha besiya besithi endaweni yokubana nibamba umama uKwinana bambani mna lo, kuba kaloku ndim lo uneteksi, ndim lo ubegrogrisa abantu esithi mababhatale imali kamama uKwinana, ndim ndibambeni. Lixesha ke eli loba athandaze ngakumbi umama uKwinana, kuba kaloku noYesu wenjenjwe utshutshiswa. Here's the published version of Masechaba Ndlovu Khumalo Ndende and her team at Newsroom Africa.
SAA technical chairperson Yakhe Kwinana has returned to the spotlight after being arrested last week on extortion-related charges. A week before that, Kwinana was alerted of the SA Institute of Chartered Accountants' intention to strip her of her membership, despite her appeal to the decision last year. Kwinana, a chartered accountant who held the post of South African Airways technical chairperson, appeared at the Zondo Commission of State Capture, where evidence was tested of her allegedly receiving about 4.3 million rand in payments from a supplier. At the State Capture Commission, Chair Raymond Zondo recommended that the NPA consider prosecuting Kwinana of corruption. Kwinana will appear before the East London Magistrates Court on Monday for the extortion charges. Now, let's take a look back at who Kwinana is and what has gotten us here.
Proper journalism would include researching what the facts are of this particular matter. But these journalists have just decided to look at social media and run with the story. That is why I say to you, journalism has died altogether in South Africa.
Outer CEO Wayne Duvenage tells us more. Wayne, good morning and welcome to Newsroom Africa.
Morning, nice to be with you.
Thank you very much. Firstly, can you share your thoughts on the recent extortion allegations involving Yakhe Kwinana, the chartered accountant and former SAA board director?
Yeah, look, not quite surprised, although it's totally outside of where she was operating when we got to know her as one of the board members at SAA, where we discovered so much wrongdoing on her behalf. To hear that she's now extorting and causing damage to property in the Eastern Cape, it's really worrying. But again, as I said, not surprising.
I think these allegations reflect on the broader issues of corruption and governance in South Africa.
Well, it's a clear indication of what happens when people are put into positions of power who do not have the best interests of the people they're serving, the country first of all, and the citizens and the institutions in which they are supposed to be, protecting them from the demise that they have suffered. So, and we see this across the country. We see people put in positions of power who are abusing that power. Yakhe Kwinana is a classic example of how that happens and what goes wrong.
I'll be reporting live when Yakhe Kwinana is suing everybody including every media that has published these fabricated allegations against her name. This level of laziness should be punished by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. I hope that someone will write to whoever is heading the news and get to challenge in the process of cleaning Mama Yakhe Kwinana's name, but all in due course.